Hi, welcome back to part three of the skills we all need to survive in an AI world. And today we're going to look at a bit more technical detail. In particular, what we're going to look at is how the brain works. So, a very important bit of neurology is work done by a neurologist called Maleo. And what he did was look at the symmetry of brains. How's left and right side of the brain at birth? How does it develop? And how is it developing or not in people with learning difficulties? And what he's seeing is that if humans develop well, they develop differences between left and right sides of the brain. They develop asymmetries. In children and adults with learning difficulties, there are not the same quantity of asymmetries, and there's not the same quantity of communication going back and forth across left and right sides of the brain. We need to get the brain working. We need to get inputs to the brain working and linking with each other. And that is the simple message of what you can get out of this. So when you go to what modern Western medicine, you should be getting what's called diagnosis by elimination. They ought to be going through all possible causes, starting with the most obvious, and then eliminating anything. But that's not happening. And particularly when someone goes with learning difficulties, all that's happening is they're looking at secondary symptoms and go, oh, I think you're ADHD. I think you're dyslexic. I think you're autistic. But they're not looking and checking the root causes of the problem. They are not checking motor skills. They're not checking vision. They're not checking breathing. They're not checking sound processing. So I would like to argue we need to rethink modern healthcare. Human bodies work as a whole. So when my son was blinded by my hospital, it affected his motor skills, it affected his sound processing, it affected everything. And it took us quite some time to reverse all the damage that was done, but it was quite possible. And so the body works as a whole, and the body is very plastic. And you can, throughout life, maintain and manipulate your senses and motor skills. Western medicine sees the body in silos. We have a thing called Occam's razor, which underpins a lot of research. And so research is considered to be better the smaller field you study. But for humans, we need everything to work together, and we need to both look at the part and the whole, and we're not doing that. So we have too many short-term fixes, too many coping strategies, and they are not giving people long-term holistic development, long-term flexible thinking. And to survive in the AI world, we all need to have thinking at a very high level. So we can see and check that everything is as it should be. We can see when something is not right and amend it. We don't become completely dependent on computers. That is going to be very disruptive for industries. So take the psychiatry industry. I think it needs a mass retraining. I think they need to learn how flickering vision affects people emotionally, how problems with sound processing affect people emotionally, how you can move people on from sound and vision problems, how breathing through the mouth affects people, all the basic physiology, how it impacts on a person emotionally, and how to move people on a timely basis. Likewise, optometrists, I cannot say too strongly, they need to understand how eyes work with the whole body. Sports scientists, the same. They've got to understand how the body works as a whole. They can't just cherry pick the best sports players. They can make everybody really good at sport. And that again goes on to physiology. Audiology in Britain is particularly backward. If I'm in France on healthcare, I can get proper sound therapy that changes how I process sound and makes sense of sound. In Britain, the advice is when someone has an auditory processing disorder to speak loudly and clearly to them. that will change nothing. It will leave them an auditory processing problem, which will disrupt both their motor skills and their vision. I cannot tell you too strongly that is dreadful advice. Of course, if we're sorting people's physiology out and everyone's getting straighter and stronger postural control and so on, that will have an impact on surgery. But actually, if the body is well aligned, it's not going to need anything like as much surgery. Surgery is quite violent intervention. And that also pushes back control of the body to the individual. And we can work as a team to understand how the body works, and people can develop understanding of that. So we all need to skill up, and professionals in particular need to skill up so they understand their own discipline as it fits into the development of the whole body. We need a revolution in basic human development. And honestly, Leonardo da Vinci 400 years ago would have made sense of everything I was saying. He did eye exercises, he understood muscle systems, etc. We have forgotten a lot of very basic things. Let's work together to make everybody fit to learn, ready for a 21st century where they can control AI, they're not controlled by AI.